I'm Roy, and this is Val. It's Roy and Val. And today we'll be covering reactive glasses. When you hear the term reactive glass, you wonder, like, what in the heck's going to go on in the kiln, right, when you fire these together. But really, it's just talking about some glasses that, because of their properties, they do get a kind of a chemical reaction that occurs inside the kiln and sometimes can create some really interesting effects.
Right.
Sometimes it's something you don't want to happen, right? Because I get asked this sometimes. It's nothing that's specific to like one COE. All right. I mean, it's not just Bullseye or just Oceanside that has it. It's actually both. That have it. It again is just one of those things that has to do with the chemical properties of the glass when it comes to coloring. The metal oxides that they use to color the glass, and some of the metals, especially when it's exposed to the heat, they react with each other. That's really pretty much just the basic of that. Mm-hmm. And like we were saying, I know from me personally, when I was first started fusing, I would sometimes get these marks on the glass, and I was like, why is that happening, right? And it was some chemical reaction.
Why does that look like that has an outline around it? Yeah, an outline around it. That was what we were, in the beginning, we were going, wow, look at that.
Yeah. A lot of the information comes from the manufacturer.
Right. We wanted to make sure to clarify that, we have these things that I printed off, and one is off of Bullseye's website, and one was off Oceanside's website. And they have their glasses listed and the properties and the reactive glasses and things. So this isn't just something that we had scientifically come up on our own and figured out these charts and everything.
Yeah, I did that on this one too, something similar, right? So the light cyan color here is reacting with the base glass, which is just this French vanilla, right? So it's French vanilla. And if you can look at it closely, there's this dark line that goes around every one of these little vitrograph, pieces. So the chemistry behind it is, if you're curious, pretty simple for what we're talking about today. Is going to be some of the glasses contain copper, and that reacts with other glasses that contain sulfur. And again, they're oxides, right? They're not just pure sulfur, pure copper, but that's in the matrix of the glass, right? When they're making the coloring. So what a lot of colors that contain copper tend to be in the blue range, right? So there's a lot of blues. That's why you see like a lot of blues, and some greens contain it. And then sulfur would be the warm colors, so yellows, oranges, reds. A lot of times have sulfur in them. So real simple. If you look at this one, for example, so this is so these little samples up here on the table. I actually teach a class on this periodically here at Delphi, and I have like more samples than even these. So that show like all the endless combinations and styles. But if you can see the base glass here, it's a marigold yellow, and then there's light cyan and Egyptian blue that are fused to the top. And again, you can see the dark line around them. So if you do like a lot of the samples I sort of have, you can see that the reaction's not the same on everything. I mean, just because it's blue and just because it's yellow doesn't mean you're going to always get the same reaction. It depends on the shade of blue and how much copper's in that blue. The manufacturers don't really give that information. They will tell you that it contains copper, but they don't say like high copper content or something. So also heat work affects it a lot. So the hotter or longer you hold it, that can increase the reaction of it. If you do repeated firing, so if you're doing, tack firings and then full fuses and then going to slumping, all that additional heat work can also increase the appearance of the reaction. So this is made up of, really there's three glasses in here. There's this cream or French vanilla is what Bullseye calls this color. This is a dense white is what Bullseye calls that. And then there's some clear in here, which is really hard to see, but that's it. So all this grayish color that you see is the chemical reaction between the frit and the sheet glass, or the stringer and the sheet glass. And again, so it's a little more, as Val's kind of pointing out, with the frit, it's a little more dramatic because you get a reaction around every little piece of frit. This is a quarter of a sheet of Bullseye. So Bullseye comes 20 by 32 inches. So this is I think they refer this one might be the infusion one, or cascade, I think is how they refer to the texture. But it's basically this French vanilla, which again contains a lot of sulfur. This is a transparent turquoise blue, again, which has a lot of copper in it. And then where they meet, they react. Now this is just how the sheet is made. And so you can see the brown color in here, that's the reaction. But once you fire this, it turns even darker and more of it gets brown. So which is sometimes confusing for people because they'll see all this nice kind of turquoisey color and expect it all to stay. It doesn't all stay because a lot of this is actually going to turn brown. But you still get these nice kind of fun swirls and reactions in there, which is pretty cool. Right? So just for the fun of it, right? So this is a piece of yakagani. If you're not familiar with yakagani, right there in Connellsville, Pennsylvania, glass manufacturer. And this is something very similar to like what the bullseye glass is like. So it does have this kind of cream color that you see streaked in there that contains sulfur, and then this turquoise blue color has got copper. And then as Val was also pointing out to me just a minute ago, like again, if you're not familiar with what a lot of the sheets look like, you can see how dramatically sort of different they look, right? As just from top to bottom. So I know when people buy glass from us, if you buy a square foot, you might get this square foot, or you might get this square foot, or you might get that square foot, and you can see how.
But if you buy the whole sheet, look at all the options. I mean, you have so many different options.
Nice.
So this piece, just to explain, if I'm going to fuse with this, if I just put this on top and don't put anything over this or cover it or cap it, sometimes is the word people use, this is going to turn this gunmetal gray that's over in this piece. So this piece will turn the gunmetal gray. If I put clear on top of it in any place and melt it in, wherever that clear is, underneath is going to maintain the blue, and everything around it is going to be the gunmetal gray.
Another glass I wanted to show you was this particular glass. This is a fun one that Bullseye makes. That's called petrified wood. And it looks really quite transparent, doesn't it? I mean, you can probably see my hand through it pretty well. But it's actually, when you fire it, it turns into this kind of dark ambery color is in the sheet glass. It turns dark, and not only does it turn dark, but you get this variation of value in there, almost this light cream color. And then where there's just clear, it looks pretty clear, when you bring it out. So this is also a petrified wood. The difference is, I fused it on the base. This is the robin egg blue. So what I did was, this might be hard to follow, right? So I have one piece of the petrified wood, robin's egg blue on the bottom. I took clear stringer and laid clear stringer in between the two layers. So when it fuses, the clear stringer kept this petrified wood from touching the bottom, and it stayed the same color, that kind of robin's egg blue, right? So these little these dots that look kind of red, it's actually just clear, right? They're the red reactive clear that's reacting with, again, the light cyan, and it produces a red color. So it's also you can't see it. This clear is the red reactive, and if you could see how it reacts up against this light cyan, it is red. There's a red kind of interface there where they're meeting. Well, thanks for joining us today. If you guys have questions, you can always reach out to us. You can email us at Facebook at delphiglass.com. I got that one. Or you can always message us on Instagram, Facebook. That's about it, right? It's all those
YouTube
fun.
comments.
Oh yeah, YouTube comments. That's right. Yeah. So if you ever want to catch any of our old Facebook lives, I know I post them up on YouTube. So we got a YouTube channel. That was a great place to see that. We'll be back in a few weeks, and I think we're going to be doing some lead work.
We're going to do lead?
So, yeah,
Okay.
we're going to do some lead. So
all right,
yeah, it should be
good.
fun. So
Okay, thanks.
yep.